Hi everybody, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to make a cool piece of decor from Tumbling Tower blocks. Um, it was a little tricky, but I learned a lot from this. And next I'm going to make a bowl if I have enough TT blocks, that is. But anyways, you're going to need 42 blocks, I believe, for this. And I did it one side, I made both sides at the same time and then glued them together. So here I'm just using an extra tumbling tower block to space, as a spacer between the next. And if you do that all throughout, you'll end up with an even, um, you know, bowl or whatever this thing is called. I wanted a bowl, but I didn't quite know what I was doing, so this is just a big learning curve for me. Um, you'll see me pulling the spacers out early because I was afraid they were going to get glued with the piece that I was gluing, and by doing so, I pulled them out too early, and you see it's moving, it's squiggling like a snake there, and I do end up with it uneven. The very first one that I made, which is this one, was a little bit uneven, and it was hard to put together later. So keep that in mind to watch where your glue placement is and make sure that the glue doesn't touch your spacer. And it's a little bit difficult, but it can be done. I did it with the second one. I did really well. This first one though, one of them has a different curve than the other. So one of them is more curved. And it seemed to me that the original one was the one I had the most trouble with. So it both sides did not end up identical. So one way to maybe fix that would be to wait for this to dry completely and then turn it over and prop it on something while you build on the other side. But I didn't think about that until after I had the problem. So that's usually when you find, the best way to do something is the easiest way to learn something is the hard way, and I definitely got that mastered. I definitely learn how to do something after I do it. But that's how we learn. And anyways, it's a very nice piece. It's very high-end looking. It's going to look really cute on my coffee table. I was going to use it as a remote caddy, and then I thought, no, it's too nice for that. So I'm going to make it like a flower basket, except it's more flat than a basket. But it's going to look really cute with flowers and florals in it, and I'll be able to change the florals for the season. So as you can see here, I just went right on to the building the next piece. So like I said, it would have been better if I had waited for the first piece to dry and then built off of that one. Somehow flipped it over and continued, but I didn't know that was the best way to do it. So I just thought, well, I'm making two sides and I'm going to put them together. And I did have it in my mind that if they didn't turn out even, that there could be a problem. But I didn't really, I did know that it could be a problem, but I didn't realize what kind of a problem, I guess, how it was going to affect it. So I only found out by doing it, and I don't mind making mistakes because that's how you learn. So anyways, just watch your glue. Make sure that you don't get too much glue, and then it won't affect your spacer piece. I guess I'm sure that makes sense. Don't glob your glue on too thick, I guess. Here I'm pulling them out as I go, and that was easier than trying to pull them out after, after you build 3 levels and you go back down to the first level and start to pull them out. It shifts the rest of the blocks. So if you use your spacer, put your piece down, very easily pull that spacer out and then move on like I'm doing here. So I put the spacer down, put the block down that I'm gluing, and then pull the spacer right out, and that worked really well. And like I said, my second piece was not bowed like my first piece, and you can kind of see it there where my first piece is kind of wonky on the one side, but I couldn't see it because I was over top of it. So, hindsight 2020 and all, I can see what I did wrong. So here, I didn't like the way it looked when you just put the 2 pieces together. So I decided to add a row, and I knew here that one side was different than the other, but I thought, I could fix it, and it was really difficult. It was a difficult process to put these 2 pieces together. I tried, I put spacers there to try to make sure that they were even, but I ended up with one side tighter than the other. So when I put them together and I go to put the blocks in, one side went together, I had to kind of knock the blocks into it because it was tight, and the other side was really loose, so I ended up having to use hot glue to kind of fill in the spaces. I was trying to do both sides at once, but I realized that it was easier to see that side's really tight right there. I had a really tight time getting it in there. And the other side was loose, so I had to let the loose side dry before I could mess with the other side, because each time I moved something, the blocks would slide. So you got to have a lot of patience to do this. Now here I'd flipped it around, so the side that I'm working on is the tight side there, and the other side is the loose side. See, I'm having a hard time keeping the block in, so I used a paint bottle or Mod Podge bottle there to hold the piece up while it dried, and I had to use hot glue. And I don't like using hot glue with Tumbling Tower blocks because it leaves a gap, but here I had a gap that needed to be filled, so I decided to do that with the hot glue. And the struggle was real on this. It was a learning curve. So anyways, it still turns out cute. Now, one thing, I don't like to paint my Tumbling Tower blocks. I like to have wood on wood because I've had so much trouble with adhesion. But I will tell you a tip for this. Paint the ends of your blocks before you start. Whatever you're going to do, if you're going to Waverly Antique Wax or stain, at least do the ends of the blocks, because getting in those little square openings was a big pain and it ruined my paintbrush. But it took a long time, so I just grabbed it up and sat down here and watched music videos while I painted the insides of those, but it took a very long time. So patience is the key for this project, and that, I believe, is a super glue, fix-all super glue. So I was trying everything, try to keep those pieces in there. And you've seen me use my brand new orbital sander. My husband got me that for Valentine's Day, and I absolutely love it. It's the first time I used it, but it definitely won't be my last. I've wanted one. I've got a whole tool set, but they're all air tools, so now I have an electric one. I'm really happy about that. So anyways, yeah, you see me struggling with that block. It's still a little spongy to this day. It's only been a few days, but it's kind of spongy. Like when I go to if I go to grab it, I can see it's got some play in it, and it moves a little bit, and it's just the hot glue that's holding it in there. So anyways, I'm not trying for perfection, But since it was wonky, it did have a few pieces that stuck out more than the others, you know, stuck out a little bit more than the rest. And the block with the writing on it, I was so angry with myself because, you know, doing it the way I did it, standing over top of it and putting the blocks, you know, sideways like that with the, all I had was the side view. I put the block with the writing right face up in it. And I'm like, you big dummy. So I'm showing you here the one with the writing on it. I already got some of it with the orbital sander. And now I'm just sanding the rest of that off right there. And it came off really well, but I get so aggravated with myself because it would have been a lot easier to, you know, it would have been a lot easier to not have it, you know, not have used it in this particular project. So anyways, I realized, well, I think, wouldn't this look better with some feet on it? So I got these little blocks from the Dollar Tree, and I counted 5 rows in on each side to make sure that they went where they were supposed to. And after I get it done, it's still a little bit lopsided. So you'll see me, and here I'm just using wood glue and hot glue, but you will see me cut a couple pieces of a skewer. One of the, not the tiny little skewers like you get from the Dollar Tree, but they're a little bit bigger. And I don't know if they came from the Dollar General or a flea market maybe, but they're a little bit thicker than the skewers you get from the Dollar Tree. But anyways, I take a couple tiny pieces of that and glue it to the bottom of the foot, which you'll see here in a minute. And then, I didn't show it on camera, but I did it when I was upstairs. Before I set it down on my coffee table, I took some felt and cut it into the little squares and glued it to the bottom of the feet so that it wouldn't scratch my table. So you might want to do that if you put feet on these, on this, if you make it. So anyways, I just put the other 2 blocks down, and now I see it's still setting uneven. So I'm going to go ahead and fix that with the skewers. Just a couple small pieces. I want to thank everybody for watching. I really do appreciate it. I appreciate your view. I appreciate your like and your subscription. And if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. Please come back. Please come back and see me to everybody. And I hope you have a blessed week. And like I said, this was very time consuming to paint it after the fact. If you're going to leave it natural, you know, it's gorgeous natural. But I wanted it to match my decor upstairs, so I wanted the Waverly look, the antique wax look. And it was difficult. Now, I didn't wipe anything on this. I put it on and left it on. I wanted it to be a little bit darker, so I didn't wipe anything. And I go over the whole thing with that. And then, like I said, I got me a thin toothbrush, paintbrush, and I sat here and watched music videos, and which was fine. It was a, you know, I had time to kill. It was very relaxing. It was a very relaxing thing. But if you're in a hurry, you definitely don't want to sit and do this job. I show my butterfly hair quite a bit. I'm not sure. I guess I was cleaning my paintbrush maybe. But I didn't cut it out because I do show, you know, getting down into those holes. But anyways, this is, like I said, it's a very nice piece of decoration, or decor, I guess. It looks really good in my living room on my coffee table. It matches my living room. Now you can put Mod Podge over it or some kind of a sealer. I liked mine just the way the antique wax left it. So see, you have to get in. I just turned it one way, did every natural wood spot I could see, and then turned it the other way and did the same thing, and then flipped it around until I had them all done in the center.